Hello everyone, welcome back to STW Sports. I'm host Sam, right here with guest Liverpool fan Joseph Clarke. Now Joe, tell me, what's it like to support a club like Liverpool?
Oh, it's great, yeah. It's obviously a big part of my life, really. Obviously, follow them all the time, social media. Obviously, try and go to as many games as I can as well. Yeah, it's just great. It feels like a good community club to support, really.
Yeah.
So yeah, look, it's
Absolutely. You've witnessed a few games live as you lived there for a few years. What's the best game you've ever seen live? Has it been atmosphere and just generally a game that you felt you were blown away by?
Well, yeah. I mean, unfortunately, I've not been to a lot of the games I've been to are sort of like against mid-table, sort of lower league teams, and we've sometimes struggled to win, or it's been a bit of a tough watch. But I remember just the start of Klopp's era, and we played Stoke in the semi-final League Cup.
Yes,
and we won on penalties.
Yeah,
so we got to the final.
Game, actually, yeah.
And I went to the League Cup final that season as well. So that was a good experience. Yeah.
Yeah, very good. Of course, with Liverpool ending their 30-year title drought, what was the feeling like when you did finally get confirmed as champions?
Oh, it's brilliant. Yeah, absolute relief, to be honest. I mean, obviously with COVID and stuff like that, it was quite. I mean, from a selfish point of view, it was quite sort of. Like, it's frustrating when because obviously that big break and you're thinking, oh, is it going to be null and voided and stuff like that. But no, it was great. I mean, we fully deserved it, and it's brilliant, really good.
Yeah, of course, touching on that, of course, Champions League victories you've had as well whilst being a Liverpool fan.
Yeah.
Of course, the Milan final in 2005 is always going to be the one that stands out. But what was the feeling like last season when you won it? Well, 2019 when you won it, of course, you had the amazing semi-final against Barcelona.
That was brilliant.
I mean, that probably been arguably the best comeback in European history. Like, what did you think about that game? Like, when you heard about, when you watched it or when you heard about it? Like, how was it like?
Well, I was actually with the Barca one, or
the Barcelona one. Yeah.
Well, funnily enough, I was actually in Spain for that on holiday, and obviously, I remember the build up to it, thinking, right, 4-0, 3-0 down. Yeah, and I'm thinking, anything can happen at Anfield. Like when the crowd gets behind the team, special things can happen at that stadium, and obviously we. Once the first goal went in, first few minutes, you're thinking anything
gives
could
a massive
happen.
Lift, doesn't it, to the players?
And so once we scored that goal, you're thinking, you could actually go and do this. You never know.
Yeah,
so,
and it's just believe the crowd as well, certainly behind them. So
it was
that definitely helped.
Really good. That was amazing, and it would have been a shame if we hadn't won the Champions League as well, but we did, and that was. I think that was the start, really.
Yes, it's funny how I mentioned the semi-final and not the final, but the final was a bit more forgettable, of course. But yes, you won, and it's for a Liverpool fan, it's probably a dream final.
That was the main thing.
Comfortable win, but I mean,
no drama.
It wasn't really the final that Liverpool were used to. Of course, the Milan, go back to the Milan one.
For a neutral, it was.
Yeah, I don't know how much you watch football for the AC Milan final, but that must have been quite something as well to witness.
Yeah, I remember that vividly, actually. That was quite the start of when I was, really supporting Liverpool. I was primary school at the time, but I remember watching it from home, and we were 3-0 down, and you're thinking, well, this is pretty much done and dusted.
Yeah, with the Milan team as well they had back then.
That team was really good, and Gerrard scoring that early goal in the second half, and again, you sort of, with Liverpool fans and everything, and we just sort of got back, and
it's amazing, really. The look at the team Liverpool had
some
back then.
Great moments as a Liverpool fan, they were, but obviously we've had some bad moments as well. But that's the way it is. So.
Yeah, so it's, of course, Steven Gerrard aside, of course, every Liverpool fan's favourite player is Steven Gerrard of the last 20 years. But you've seen some great players, like Suarez, Torres. Who for you is your player who when you watched, you just he was your favourite player at Liverpool? Oh, of course, I'm guessing Steven Gerrard, but if not Steven Gerrard.
Well, for me, I mean, personally, when I was starting supporting Liverpool as a kid, obviously my dad was a Liverpool fan as well, so he got me into him, but I didn't have any choice, really. But for me, Michael Owen was my hero.
A lot of people say Michael Owen.
Because of the goals he scored, and he was not like the biggest of guys, but he was just so fast and exciting to watch. And I was gutted when he left for Real Madrid, but he was my first memory, really. And then as you get to know the game more, you're thinking, you realise how good a player Gerrard was. So Gerrard definitely my favourite player.
Yeah, most Liverpool fans will certainly say that. Of course, mentioning as well of managers wise, of course, Jurgen Klopp, fantastic job he's done in the last 5 years. Other managers, though, of course, Rafa Benitez won the Champions League. You've been through a lot of managers.
Yeah.
You know, what's the highs and lows as managers? Would you say, as in like, what's your experience overall been with managers at Liverpool?
Yeah, I mean, I think we've obviously we had Gerard Houllier to begin with, and that was not a bad era. We won a lot of cups, and I think we won the treble in 2001, which is great.
Wasn't quite the league, was it? This didn't quite push
wasn't the league, no.
And that's what ultimately cost him his job.
Yeah, and I think that we've always been there or thereabouts really during my time, and it's all about been trying to win the league, because that's what Liverpool want to do. You know, we should be winning the league as a
what's
club.
eluded them for many years.
But it's obviously with the financial and likes of City and United, their spending power, and Chelsea. It's just been very hard for them to sort of bridge that gap at times. But obviously we've got Rafa in, who did a good job winning that Champions League, as we just mentioned.
Came close in 2009 to winning the league. That was very disappointing.
And then we had some off-field problems during that time, and then Hodgson came in at a bad time, to be fair to him.
Nothing went right in that little era, did it? No, just a few months, but it just went from bad to worse, really.
No, that's right. And then obviously got Rodgers in, and I think Rodgers deserves credit, to be honest, for what he did. He nearly won the league. And if we'd perhaps had a bit more luck, maybe a bit better defence, we would have done it.
The 2014 season was one of them. I mean, Suarez, unbelievable season. That and Sturridge even had an unbelievable season, but just couldn't get over the line.
Wasn't meant to be.
Defensively, it was one that ultimately cost you. I mean, people go on about the Gerrard slip, but defensively, it was ultimately that cost you. You couldn't lack of the ability to see out games, and the defence just wasn't good enough, but the attack was fantastic, which is why you did nearly win the league.
It was a very, very freak season, really, in terms of the goals we scored, and obviously the goals we were conceding at the same time. But now we've got a really balanced team, good manager. Klopp is just like, he's an icon, really. He's a great personality for Liverpool.
He's had to build the team, hasn't he?
He's built the team, and when he came to the club, obviously, we were in a bad situation, but everybody believed in what he was going to do at the club. He wanted to, I think the fans bought into what he was all about, what he wanted to do, and we've been patient. We've had ups and downs, but at the end of the day, we were on the up. Now we're just continuing improving. So
touching on Brendan Rodgers, was the biggest, of course, obvious, but the biggest downfall selling Luis Suarez. The signings that came in to not replace Suarez, but after Suarez, were certainly not good enough, and that was ultimately maybe what cost Brendan Rodgers his job. Would you say overall?
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, Rodgers. I think there was an issue with we still do a transfer committee.
Yes, of course.
And but people maybe put it down to that, but we still have that now, and I think you look at if Klopp was in that position, I don't think he would have bought the likes of Balotelli in, and I just don't fit Liverpool's philosophy and way of playing. At Liverpool, we've always had players that have a good attitude, work hard, and it's all about the team. It's not the individual, and that's what Klopp. Whenever we buy players now, we don't rush, we don't panic.
That's it.
We get the right ones in.
That's what it was under Rodgers. I felt
it cost him his job, unfortunately. And he was building a really good team, but too many of the players that I bought after Suarez.
When you lose a player like Suarez, world-class player at the time, you elevate the team to another level, and that was showed the following season when they completely crumbled in the end, and just the players, team looked so much weaker without him.
It was. I think it was the Real Madrid game as well in the Champions League where he fielded quite a weak team.
Yeah, I remember that.
Which didn't think went down very well with us.
A lot of players. Fans. A lot of players didn't go down well with.
So
another one was the signings that Jurgen Klopp has made, so the likes of Sadio Mane, Mohamed Salah, Alisson Becker, Virgil van Dijk. Well, these signings have been spot on from Klopp. Like, how do you explain this? Because these players they were good, but they were never, let's say, world class before they signed for Liverpool. Klopp's made these players into world class players.
Yeah, he has.
How do you really describe what's happened to these players and how they've elevated their game to another level?
Well, I think he's just just shows how good a coach he is. What he's done, he's brought players in who he feels can develop and have got potential, and he's brought them in, and he's basically made them better players. And that's what Liverpool used to do back in the 70s, 80s when they had success. They bought players from a lower club, not necessarily a ready-made player, but they developed them, and they're now God, Mane, Salah, and
Firmino
probably worth a lot of money now.
The biggest signage, you've got to say, though, Virgil van Dijk and Alisson. I mean, Van Dijk was a great signing, 75 million, but Alisson certainly feels like the last piece of the jigsaw that was filled in. And since he's come in as well, he's been brilliant. The defence looks a lot better than what it was.
We had a defensive issue for a while.
Very long time,
And when Van Dijk came in, he just brought that composure to the team. And amazing what one player can do, really.
Yeah,
and
that's
what a couple players can do.
I think even with Van Dijk, you look at that Champions League final 2018, Loris Karius had an absolute horror show, and that just proved you needed a keeper. You bought in Alisson at the right time, and everything just changed from there, really, didn't it? And
it was that was really the time to change, and I think Klopp realised that as well. So
I want to touch on the mentality of Liverpool as well, which is very impressive. 97 points, losing by 1 point to Man City. Yes, a very good Man City team, no doubt. Liverpool's mentality to bounce back and win the league a year later with 99 points was quite something. As a fan, it's got to be great to see that, because so many teams would have crumbled under, that heartbreak, and they would have been so disappointed it would have got to them. Liverpool, though, just carried on.
Well, exactly.
Great mentality showed.
And when we had under Benitez and obviously Rodgers, when they came second, obviously the following season we had a really bad season.
That's it, they collapsed.
So you're thinking when we did that maybe there might be a bit of a dip, but there wasn't. And I didn't think there would be myself, because I just knew this team was a bit different. I knew that it was going somewhere, and we won the Champions League as well. I think that was just the start, really, to be honest.
Another player I want to touch on, Jordan Henderson, Liverpool captain, had his critics in the 9 years he's been at Liverpool. What a story it's developed to be, though. Henderson, a Champions League and Premier League winning captain. What are your thoughts on Jordan Henderson's career at Liverpool?
Yeah, I mean, obviously he's had his critics, including myself, to be honest. When he started out at Liverpool, he just, he had big shoes to fill. Obviously, there was talk of him potentially being Gerrard's successor, and it just, at the end of the day, he's not. He's obviously a captain. He's done a really good job. He's not a Gerrard, but he is a fantastic leader, a really good leader, and he's perfect for Liverpool because of his attitude, his work rate, and he was nearly obviously going to go to, I think it was Fulham at one stage.
Yeah, Fulham, Clint Dempsey swap deal.
And
an aging Clint Dempsey as well.
To bounce back from that and work his way back into the team, and obviously I remember Rodgers, he was becoming quite an important player. And when we've not played in this season, we've missed him, because he just brings that energy to the team, and he's just a great leader, to be honest, like really good leader. And and he's a very good player as well, though. He doesn't get enough credit. He is a fantastic passer of the ball. He scores important goals, and when you watch him live as well, if you go to Anfield, you realise how important he is. He does his job very well.
You see more from him live, especially for another player of that, such as Firmino as well. I've noticed, when people see him live, they say you don't realise how hard he works until you see him live.
Absolutely,
Another thing, of course, with Liverpool this season, the title win. What was your game when it made you think we've got this title now? What was the game that made you think this is our year now? What's the game?
My game.
There's a few candidates, of course, where you've got big wins.
There's a couple. I think it probably was when we beat Leicester 4-0.
Yeah, that's
at Leicester.
That's probably the one I'd say.
I think that was a big
convinced.
statement at Leicester as well. Obviously, at the time they were sort of.
They were up there. They won that game. They're only a few points behind you, so massive win.
And we just
tore
demolished them, really.
Yeah,
didn't we?
I mean, one of the another player do need to touch on who I've not yet. Trent Alexander-Arnold. I mean, what a story. But what a play! 21 years of age. Like what a story
really
already
exciting.
In his young career.
Really exciting. What he's already achieved.
To think, he's got so many years ahead of him, and he's brilliant, isn't he? I mean, and
he is.
Just the way he plays is, the assists he gets and everything. Brilliant player to watch. It must be a dream for a Liverpool fan to have an academy right back as well, playing this well and just living his dream.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. I mean, the fact that he's only 21 as well, he's got a lot of potential, and I think he's got his good head on his shoulders, and I think he's already said he wants to be Liverpool captain. That's his motivation. So that's great to hear,
absolutely.
Really. Really excited about him.
Yeah,
really
definitely. Of course, I want to touch on the lows, unfortunately, Liverpool now. Could mention a couple of them. The 2016 Europa League final versus Sevilla. Klopp's, he had the Man City League Cup final as well. That's the Europa League one. If you won that, you'd have got Champions League football. What was the thoughts after that? Was it disappointment, or was it this is a work in progress? Let's not get too carried away.
Yeah, it's obviously disappointing to lose a final. Obviously, the way we got there. I think we beat United, we beat Dortmund in that dramatic game.
Dortmund won a game.
So to get to the final and lose in the final hurdle was pretty tough, to be fair. But at the end of the day, Sevilla are a good side. They've shown that
at that
now.
point as well. They'd already won 2 on the bounce Europa Leagues, and then they got a third, and now they've won it again this year.
It just wasn't meant to be, and at the end of the day, you've got to lose games to develop, and that's what this team's done under Klopp. They just keep growing. You've got to lose to learn, and that's what he's kept faith in the
also touched on the Real Madrid Champions League final, of course. I already mentioned Loris Karius' horror show. That game, I feel like Liverpool fans didn't take too much to heart other than the goalkeeper situation, because you knew it might have been too early to win the Champions League at that point. You were playing a very good Real Madrid team. Same position as Sevilla, they'd already won 2 in a row before that. So, do you think that final was a big catalyst to spur Liverpool on, though, in a way? Because I feel like final, since then, Liverpool have only, and of course the signing of Alisson's a big part of that, have only gone on to get better. That final could have been the catalyst for a successful Liverpool era.
I think it was, I think that route to the final as well.
The Man City game, of course, Roma.
It showed that there's something happening, something special going on. And I think we lost the final, but obviously I don't think that was the point, really. The point was we're back, in the European
hung
stage.
In the final. It wasn't for a goalkeeping horror show and a world-class Gareth Bale overhead kick. That final was anyone's, and Salah going off injured as well. That final was anyone's,
It was frustrating, that was, because Salah obviously got injured earlier on, and then obviously Karius. There's no taking away from the fact that he did make 2 big errors. But obviously Bale scored a really good goal. But that's football; it could be cruel, can't it? So
definitely, Of course, go on about Jurgen Klopp, of course, being the man to finally deliver you the Premier League title as well. Klopp's already a Liverpool legend, isn't he? You've got to say what he's achieved in just his 5 years, and it took him a while to get that first trophy. But I mean, since then, trophies have just been coming in, haven't they? And Champions League, Super Cup, Club World Cup, Premier League. It's it's been a great couple of years for Liverpool. But can they keep this going now?
Definitely, I think they can. I think they can. Obviously, they've still got the same group of players that they have been doing. I think. Obviously, getting a little bit older, but we've got young players coming through, which is always good. I think we do need to freshen things up a little bit. Whether that gets, we get maybe Thiago in, or I think we do need to switch the midfield up a bit.
I was going to ask you, what do Liverpool need to progress now? Of course, this team's great, but you've seen it in the past. Teams stand still and they fall behind, and Liverpool have got to watch they don't fall into that trap.
So, I don't think they will. I think we're in good hands, and I think. It doesn't concern me that other teams spend a lot of money. I mean, well, it does a little bit, but I mean, at the same time, I think just the way this team's set up and the manager and everything's just well placed. I think to do it again next season. So
agree. Yeah, of course, Liverpool as well was mentioned. It's looking like it could be a good future under Klopp, to be honest with you. So that's something that's got to excite the fans as well. They've got a manager in Klopp. What was it like when you actually got Jurgen Klopp? That's what I want to know. 2015, Klopp had just left Dortmund a few months prior, said he was having a year out. What was the thoughts? Was the excitement instantly there, or did it take a little bit of convincing? We know he did a great job at Dortmund, but was the excitement there straight away? I mean, it sounds a silly question, but...
well, when he came in, obviously, I'd heard what he'd done at Dortmund, and, he was a character as well. He was exciting, to be honest.
He's just made for Liverpool, isn't he, really, Klopp? That's what got everyone excited. He's got passion,
He's got a bit of humour as well, which obviously really is endears
He instantly felt like he belonged at Liverpool. When I watched, his first game, Tottenham away, he instantly felt like he belonged as Liverpool manager.
Yeah, he did, and I think... To be fair, at the time I was really excited. I was really quite surprised that we got him, because we weren't in a great position. I was thinking maybe we want to go to a Barca, but Klopp's different in that way. I think
you tried a Brendan Rodgers, a young upcoming manager with not a lot of experience at top level. It didn't work. It wasn't a disaster, but it didn't really work overall. When you look at the position he left you in. But I mean, with Klopp though, he has done it at top level, and he
has.
It was looking like he was going to be a good manager instantly. It took his time, but he's got there in the end.
He has, and I think that's like I said, I think fantastic manager, and I've got him for another few years yet. Until his contract runs out,
unless something goes horribly wrong. But let's hope, hope not. But
no, good times.
Definitely is at the moment. That's all we've got time for, so thank you, Joe, for being a guest on the channel.
No worries.
And thank you everyone for watching. Please like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you soon. Thank you.